for $500,000 that you're going to bond over 30 years and you're going to pay the money out. Do you want 41,000 people to not have that field? Per se?
No,
That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying,
No,
is
I'm
there
saying-
something, because I know we had asked our CFO the last time we met, let's look at the different options. So I'm asking you guys,
Right.
you
Well,
kind of dissected those options. You
yes,
look, you know,
because I also know
you
what the
look-
CFO
can-
does. He puts
we can
things
go
in there. and
through
things
it.
don't
We-
happen.
yeah.
We can go through it line by line if you want.
I think we should go through it line by line.
I'm
a lot of
okay with
money.
that. Sure,
Yeah,
sure, let's
let's
do
tell
that.
it-
Yeah,
let's
I
start
think
that.
it's a good conversation.
Can we put it up on, is it too early?
Wait, can I ask Isa a quick question? How much of these grants are federal grants?
So I don't believe there's any that are federal in here. You have either the vans are from NJ Transit, and then the fields are, I believe it's the fields, Jackie. I forget who the field grants are
Oh.
from.
I believe the 1.1 EP is the EPA, or is in the EPA a federal grant that Congressman got us?
That's the,
That's
So
So it is a federal
do
grant.
we have any risk of any of this being cut?
So I remember you asked me this, what was it, at the recent meeting, or by email. I did mention it's the first budget meeting that we were looking at this. So believe it or not, one of our grants actually that we were being awarded this year, the NJ and Jacho grant, we were notified that it's on hold right now. So I had asked the health officer to not spend any funds against it. So it is a possibility, yes.
So if Doge cuts these, how would this in fact impact us?
I mean, you would not be able to pursue the project. So for example, we were working on health accreditation, it came in, I believe the grant was like over 600,000. We've only gotten half of that. And just literally this week, they just emailed us saying, hey, we regret to inform everybody that spending is on hold right now. So it's just, that's it. We can't move forward. We can only move forward with the grant funds we have.
Okay, but it was just the two, is the EPA, you said health. Was there any others in here? I just want to get a sense of. potentially
Well,
what
health was the prior year we'd gotten it, but it
I just wanna
wasn't in
get a sense of
capital.
What else is at potential risk since it's all up in the air and totally outside of our control?
Sarah, is there anything else on the capital that we're at risk federal wise that you remember?
So Sagamore Park is NJDP. And, oh, sorry.
Wasn't the pedestrian bridge federal?
Pedestrian
That-
Bridge grant, we didn't bond for that for this year because we are doing the design assistance from NJDOT. So we're gonna do the design first and then we will bond the project afterward.
Got it. Okay.
Well, I think that's a viable question, not just specifically for engineering, but is there anything we, Mr. CFO and manager, Miss Manager, that we should really be really concerned about given the climate of cutting from the federal level and even filtering down to the state and county? I mean, are we, we want to make sure that any kind of grants that we are anticipating really materialize. So I'm curious to know.
It's also a valid question because our state aid money, I believe, came in negative $352,000 this year, if that's correct.
Yes, I
right?
was just about to say that every municipality has felt that, where last year the governor put in municipal relief funds, additional state aid, and that was cut back this year. So it's not just grants, sometimes it's state aid, but it's really just state aid and grants at this point. But to your concern, yes, it's valid and it has happened already.
I agree. I think we do need to be super vigilant as we apply for the grants and we think that we have funding. We need to be sure that, the funding is going to still be there. And I think all municipalities are in a holding pattern right now. And I don't think any of us have any concrete answers. So I think Issa and I are just watching it very closely. I'll report back to you, Issa and I, if we hear anything, Farah, if she gets any kind of word on any of the grants. But I think you're right. We don't have concrete answers, but we have to be specific and cognizant of which ones we choose to apply for. Farah, did you have anything else to
No.
add? Thank you so much.
Do we want to cut the police cars in half from 650 down to 325? Okay, well, we did line by line last week. We could gladly do it again. If you recall, last week we did line by line. So If you look at, if you're taking out the stuff out the grants and, the police chief and the fire chief went through this, he talked about the rifles, he talked to police cars. We talked about the surveillance vehicle. We could take out architecture costs on a 100-year-old building to start renovating it. That's what, we don't start this project, we never start the project. So, I'm fine with taking anything out that people say, I do not want to do. It needs 4 people to say, I do not want to do.
Okay, respectfully, Mayor, I did have a conversation with Issa about the police cars.
Mhm.
I do see, that is an option that has come up to split them in half. I know it is delayed in ordering the vehicles. And I will mention that these vehicles, as they turn over, they do get repurposed and then the DPW does use them. So I would respectfully ask that we do keep those vehicles in there so we keep moving forward, because during COVID, we did have get far behind and their vehicles we should continue that replacement. So I respectfully would like to keep it in there. But I just wanted to let you know, as we do bring them in, the upfitting does take time. I do understand that. The company, I am going to plan a meeting with them because I am disappointed on how long it did take for the upfitting. And I will speak to Chief about it, but I do think that it is important that we keep those orders moving forward as requested by the police department. Thank you.
Quiet. We take it out?
No, I just, and I totally hear what you're saying,
Mhm.
Ms. Manager, that it is, definitely justifiable, I'm sure. But is it justifiable given like an increase in the amount of tariffs that they're anticipating the cars we're going to be seeing on cars? I'm not saying don't do it, but is now the time to do it? Can we defer something to take into account the fact that everything is going to be more expensive? And we don't know whether or not these grants are going to materialize. And I think if we look line by line, just with that in mind, everything here, we can justify our teams, our departments need it. But do we need it now? Is the question.
Just to clarify, the tariffs are just on foreign cars, right? We don't buy foreign cars, right? So
No.
that wouldn't impact our cars.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you for that, Councilwoman.
Sorry. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I do recognize what you're saying. And I think the whole list, I think everyone should take out a magnifying glass, look at anything that you really feel we should consider. I would just be remiss considering I did have a conversation with Issa saying, what happened prior, with delay in cars and the turnover, and then understanding that then we're able to use these for our DPW, knowing that it goes to other departments. I just think it is probably more responsible to leave those in and then look at some other things that if you feel we should pull, but I'm open to, what the council would like as a whole.
We discussed using some forfeiture funds for the radio.
Yes, we are using some forfeiture.
That would be
I believe, about 500,000.
500,000?
Yeah, I believe
And that would
500,000.
be- That's off the 1.025 or above that?
So here I can explain that. So
Thank you.
it would be off the 1,025,000. Now here's why I did it this way, right? You need a funding authorization first. So in the event that something else happens and they use their forfeiture funds, we can purchase the radios from the bond ordinance. And then let's say their forfeiture funds get replenished where they can put in that 500. I would then replenish capital. We could cancel that part of the bond ordinance.
And frankly speaking, that's what's going to happen to a lot of this list. This list is going to be made up of money coming back for grants,
Mhm.
money that we used to matching grants, jobs that are not going to get done, jobs that are going to modify and change downwards. And we go through this dance all the time, correct?
We
So
do.
this is not a ticket price of $12.7 million.
Correct.
I mean, we use the word Dean always, but, or you put in there's a placeholder, architect, fire department architecture fees for headquarters, $75,000. Is that a chance is there a good chance that's not happening this year? By the time it starts, who do we hire? Is there somebody we want to hire? It could very well be next year. And I'm just using that as an example. I mean, so, we can see here and cherry pick things, but a lot of this not a lot. A nice amount of it's not going to come to fruition or will be over time and be reimbursed. So,
Mr. Mayor,
yeah, I mean, sorry.
I want to comment. I'm just looking at the 5-year outlook. This capital budget is actually the lowest number over the next 5 years. So I'm just curious, if we cut this budget this year, does that just further increase the capital budget in the out years and create more of a burden next year and specifically looking at FY, I guess 28, $20 million anticipated in that budget.
This is a letter to Santa. That's really well. This is, you want to talk about what that was? The 30 million, for example?
There's 3 years in a row of $10 million for fire headquarters. So that's $30 million. That's why that goes up.
It's literally, it's a Hanukkah shopping list or a Christmas shopping list. This is what this is. So, it's not the Bible. It's,
Councilmember G's point, over the next 6 years, we're looking at $100 million.
Mhm.
I just think that,
what do you
Capital
want to take
shouldn't-
out?
off the top of my head, I don't know right now. We can talk about this next meeting, but right now I'm saying that I think this is, $12 million is too high. We're paying back, if we were paying it back all at once, that's fine, but we're only paying back $3 million a year, if that.
Councilwoman Goldberg, I think it has a lot to do with there were 8 years of 0% increase in terms of our budget and taxes within our township, and we're kind of facing it now. That's kind of like the reality of what we're seeing here. So it's like the chickens have come home to roost.
Exactly.
Well, I'll stand behind those zeros all day long. Anyone that attacks 8 years of zero budget and now says, well, but this year we have to raise it 7%, doesn't do simple compounded math in 6th grade. And frankly speaking, if we increase the budget every single year for 8 years by 2%, that'll be a cumulative 16%, well over 20 on the compound. Here we are at 0 for 8 years, and forget the last 2 years, and now we're at 7. Best deal ever still.
Yeah,
Still the best deal.
But I beg to differ with you,
it's
Mr. Mayor,
math, but okay.
because of the fact that it's sticker shock. It is really, I'd rather see 2% every year than to be hit with something, substantial like
I
this.
understand. So now you're talking emotions, I'm talking math. I can't, it's,
No, but also,
I just want to say I completely 100% agree with Deputy Mayor Belcher.
that's great, but it's actually not factual. It's opinion. She made it very clear. It's a very good opinion. It's a very good feeling. It's very good emotions. It's
not
mathematically.
emotions at all, Mr. Mayor. It's
It's-
not emotions at all. What I'm
I think-
saying is that it's received by the community a whole lot better when they see an incremental increase annually as opposed to nothing for 8 years and then something, like a
Mr.
gotcha.
Mr. Mayor, can I?
I think, sorry. Danielle had her.
No, I was just going to add. So I hear you. The math, your point on the math is right. 7% is better than 20. But what did we leave on the table? What projects would we have funded? Like there are so many things that are falling apart. We talk about the building is falling apart. The bridge needs to be repaired. We could have, with that 2%, that 20%, made those little repairs so that we don't have 100 millions in capital projects now on the list that we can't fund. So I think that was the missed opportunity. Not so much the savings, but the opportunity to refresh items in the town that needed to be refreshed.
I think actually nothing on this budget, on the capital budget would have been different if taxes were different. I think at the time when there were 0% budgets, we were borrowing free money. Interest rates were so low that it didn't matter what we were borrowing. And the fact remains that it's $665,000 to replace police cars every year. It just is. It's $2 million, or in this case, $2.8 million to pave roads every year. And these are capital expenses, and they have nothing to do with tax increases each year. These are things that we've decided to do as a council. There's another $500,000 in here for library renovations that went over. The buildings are old, they have asbestos in them. So if you look at each thing one at a time, there's an extra $1 million plus in here to redo the police radio system. We have to do that. We owe it to our police department for them to be heard when they scream on the radio. We decided to buy a ladder truck, and in here is another $100,000 for that. We need to buy rifles for the police officers. We need to fit the turnout gear. There's half of the department is getting turnout gear this year. The pedestrian bridge, everybody in town is waiting to see redone. That's in here. We need to put fans in the gyms because that's what all the children need to play and be healthy and not get sick and overheated. We got grants for 2 different parks. That's in here. We can redo them with the grants this year, or we can say we don't want to do one, but we're kind of leaving money on the table. And then there's $1.5 million in ball field replacement that we're not spending. We're not actually using it. It's just a placeholder so that we can do a project. Moving farther down, we have to bring traffic lights up to code. It has nothing to do with what a budget was years ago. We have to do that now. We decided as a council to take over the pool. It's a better facility. There is money. We need to make the upgrades to get it started. And we just heard that $500,000 in here is for municipal facilities upgrades. It just depends on what breaks in town. And then there are 4 trucks in here for the DPW. It's $500,000. Do we say that we aren't going to get another garbage truck for the DPW? Well, what happens when people want to recycle and now the trucks are breaking down? So it's a responsible municipal budget. It just, to me, there is nothing in here that can be cut. So if anybody sees something in here that they want to cut, speak up now. It's not so hard to go through it line by line. It takes 5 minutes. But speak up now. We do need to pass a municipal budget having nothing to do with politics, federal politics, or previous budgets.
Yeah, I think we could, again, open it going through line by line. Most of this capital improvement budget we've actually, through in those 8 years, we've actually done. For example, we bought 2 fire engines, 2 squads during those 0 budget. Packer truck, we bought a Packer truck over those. Many of these trucks were already done. Now these other trucks were done. So this is the same thing. And in 3 years, if we have 3 straight zeros the next 3 years, we're going to be replacing all these. We did police cars. We did all this before, and we're going to do this all again. And we're going to do this all again in 5 years. It's the shopping list of stuff that's required. And like you said, and I didn't take that out. The 1.5 million is another huge amount of money here that we're not actually spending. So this 12 million, less the bonds, less the forfeiture money, less the most money, we're almost at half. We're almost at half. So, we have forfeiture.
For the record,
Like
I
500
support.
forfeiture, but 1.5 fields is 2 million plus the stuff that I'm saying that we're already spending that or related to grants. So how much are we doing on the grants? Was it 4 total or 3 total?
I mean, for the record, I do support this budget. I would not cut anything as is.
You just got me hyped up on sugar. Oh, you brought me 2 bags. Okay, so is there anything here people want to see removed? And I'm fine suffering the consequences of 50% off the police cars.
You know, I would say I support the budget too,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor. I would say I am in support of the budget
Excellent.
too. However, I would like us to really keep an eye out for the grants.
Well,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
for
you
100%.
got it as a
Yeah,
star. This
yeah.
is this is
I mean,
great.
you know
You
how
pushed it.
I love
I understand.
grants.
No, I understand. This is to be proud of. Okay. And do I hear any takers? I mean, you want to ask if you're up to me, I have no problem. I know you yelled that with that bridge. I'm willing to bet of the 25 people in this room, virtually no one's uses this bridge more than once or twice a year, if that much. Never used it before? You even know where the bridge? Exactly.
To vote-
Bridge,
I've
bridge, ladies, bridge. Use it.
Are you kidding?
I'm having a conversation.
Everyone knows the footbridge.
No, not nose. I didn't say nose the footbridge. How many people actively use that footbridge?
It was
Almost every day, my whole life.
That's great. That's why I'm having a conversation. So do you want to pull it out?
Yeah. So Mayor, I have.
on time. Yeah.
Mayor, I do know where it is. I have run by it many times. Just remember, this is not the final say. My recommendation with the manager would be to let council take the weekend to think about it. We'll discuss it again under old business on Tuesday night.
Excellent.
Where that's where we will look for our direction to give to bond council.
Perfect. So does that make sense under old business on Tuesday night? People come back with their shopping list and fall in love or fall against these projects. We started this side. Anybody on the side want to? Mayor Pagano, any comments on any specific project you want to remove? You don't have to
Usually when I
excuse-
look at projects like this, I look at the big ticket items, the ones that are worth over $500,000, but I got to keep looking at it, as well as the other 4 versions of the possible budget we might be passing to general budget.
Mhm.
But it's a little alarming, but I do know that